What did you know? What do you know? Mayor Perkins says he at City Hall found out the very same day. What's the deal? What can you tell us?
Well, yeah, I'll echo. Sorry for the background noise, guys. I'm in the Atlanta airport on the way back to Washington, and this is a crisis. And I talked to Adrian. I talked to Mayor Perkins. The day that he found out was the same time that I did. And we lamented together that there's not a darn thing either one of us can do about it. And I told the mayor that he needs to call the White House and get President Biden's attention, like I and all of my Republican colleagues in the House have been trying to do, so that we can avert this crisis. We could fix this mess, okay? But President Biden and his administration are doubling down on their what I call crazy policies about this, and we're going to continue to see this surge of immigrants, illegal aliens dropped off at points near us and all over the country for the foreseeable future until the White House reverses course. And there's a lot to say about this, guys, but I am beyond frustrated, deeply concerned. I think we've got a growing crisis.
Mr. Mike, go ahead, Aaron.
What did the White House tell you last night? You spoke to them this weekend. What did they tell you?
Yes, well, I and Senator Cassidy and I believe Senator Kennedy, all of us, we've been ringing the phones there. We've been trying to get answers. The White House told me less than 10 hours ago or so, last night, that they really don't know, and they would connect me to somebody at DHS, Department of Homeland Security, who might be able to give me some answers. And I said, hey, with all due respect, I've already talked to the Immigration Customs Enforcement folks, DHS, and everybody down the line. We need the person at the top of the chain to fix this mess. The people below are merely following orders, guys, and their orders are to empty out the facilities. I mean, the Haitian immigrants who came to Shreveport, a lot of people locally may not know yet, those weren't even fresh encounters at the border. Those people, I was told by ICE, they had been in custody for some time. They got an inexplicable order from Washington to empty out the facility.
They're all vaccinated, right, Mike? They're all vaccinated, and they're hardworking citizens.
We had talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Given the intensity, given the cries from the Biden administration, vaccinate, 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 do we know anything about the folks that were here? Do we know where they've gone? Do we know how many more are coming? There seems to be a purposeful collective ignorance on the part of the federal government here.
Well, I feel sorry for the ICE officers, Border Patrol, Customs agents. Y'all know I was down on the border less than 3 weeks ago with President Trump down at La Jolla, Ground Zero down there. They are the most frustrated people in the world. And by the way, they're all resigning their positions now because they can't handle the stress of the job. Our frustration and our anger should be directed to the White House alone, not to these patriots who work in these divisions of the government. But here's the point. They don't know anything, Robert. They don't know. This is what they told me yesterday. Almost none of the people that they're dropping off speak English. Most of them don't have any money. They have no plans once they arrive in these destinations like Shreveport and Natchez, Mississippi, and wherever else in the world they're going. They have no picture ID, no verification of identity at all, okay? This is a crisis. They're not COVID tested when they come across the border. And I watched with my own two eyes as late as 1:30 in the morning, droves of people coming over at all hours of the day, flooding over the border because the Biden administration has put out the welcome mat to everybody in the world. And guys, when I was down there, the Border Patrol agents, that we were told when we were in La Jolla, that they can account for at least 63 countries of people, migrants coming from all over the world, illegally, guys. They're not following the rules or any of our laws, as you know. We have no law and order right now. We have absolute chaos. And it looks intentional.
Mike,
you could easily reverse this.
The KTBS report says that the men had, Greyhound bus tickets or airplane tickets and some money. Is that...
Yeah, you paid for that. Yeah, that's taxpayer dollars, guys. Look, they're giving them transport to anywhere they want to go in the country, and then they're dropping them off. Now, look, thankfully, we have some local churches and nonprofits who are doing good work. Look, we're the most benevolent, most generous nation in the world. It's not even close. We take care of everybody. We send us your huddled masses, but we have to follow our legal immigration laws to make this work. We cannot be the generous, beneficial, benevolent nation that we are if we don't have sovereignty, if we don't have a secure border, if we can't sustain what is America, our own country. We have no hope of helping anybody else. So we're just asking for the law to be followed.
Mr. Mike,
the President of the United States doing the opposite.
I know you and I have talked about this numerous times before, and you used a phrase, if you stop and think about it, if you really let it sink in, that this is being done purposefully, intentionally, that there seems to be a plan. This is not an accident. This is part of a plan that is being implemented at the highest levels of the federal government. Let's let everybody in. We'll take them to the interior, some medium or small sized town in the United States, put a few dollars in their pocket and say, welcome to America. Now you're on your own.
That's exactly what's happening. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Robert. I try very hard not to engage in hyperbole. I'm a lawyer. I like to document things with evidence and facts. I'm telling you that all the signs lead to the point that this is obviously it's a deliberate strategy, okay? And there's some people high up in the chain of the Democratic Party with their strategists who I guess ultimately believe they're going to turn these people into voters. And they're going to be so dependent on the government, they'll vote for the politicians who will give them things, right? I mean, that's the only logical explanation. Every Republican in the Congress desperately wants to fix this mess immediately. But the Democrat majorities in both houses refuse to allow us to debate this, to advance common sense legislation. I have personally filed multiple pieces of legislation to fix this mess. I've been doing it since I got there in 2017. But this is an urgent thing right now. I wanted to reform our asylum laws when I was my freshman term in Congress because we saw this train wreck coming. But now Trump got on top of this problem. Biden reversed the Trump policies, and that is what has led to this absolute unmitigated disaster.
I used the term.
We'd love to override those executive orders, but we can't yet.
I used the term a couple of seconds ago, collective ignorance of the federal government, but let's just say plausible deniability is, to me, one of the most interesting, in air quotes, aspects of all this is that the people at Sportran, the people running the bus lines, seem to know more about the whole thing than anybody in government at a state or local level.
I think that's right, and I do think that that's probably intentional. You can say they're inept, but I mean somebody at the top of the chain knows what's going on. The best commitment we could get from the officials in charge is that they'll give me and they'll give Mayor Perkins a heads up next time, right before they dump off the next busloads of people. And
so when is that? What are they telling you when the next buses are arriving?
I think it's imminent, but they haven't given us a time or date or any details yet because I don't think they have them. They're awaiting on further orders from on high.
And how many more could be coming? How many more could be coming?
Well, I don't know. I will tell you this. I specifically asked the ICE directors and the folks I was talking to. We heard rumor. Somebody was reported there was at least 17 more busloads like this coming to Shreveport. And they said, well, that number is not set in stone, and it probably was lost in translation. We won't say it's 17, but there will be more, and we don't know how many.
Why'd they pick Shreveport?
There's no end in sight.
Why'd they pick Shreveport?
My guess is because it's a mid-sized city, and they believe that we could accommodate that. But you and I, all of us know, Shreveport has no revenue base to handle this. We've got economic crises upon economic crises. We have our own infrastructure, human infrastructure. We can't take care of as it is. We cannot absorb all the poor folks from around the world. It's just not. It's fantasy economics. It's not going to happen. I'm again grateful that local charities and churches are helping out. That's biblical, okay? But it's also biblical to follow the law, to maintain the rule of law and order, because that is what prevents us from falling into chaos. And these resources are not inexhaustible, right? We're going to run out of all this benevolence. And then what? We're going to have people flooding into our communities that have not followed the law. We don't know who they are. We don't know who's dangerous. We don't know if folks on the terrorist watch list to squeeze through that border. It continues, and it will continue until we regain a Republican majority in Congress in the next election cycle, 2022, or until some leaders on the Democrat side in Washington come to their senses and join us to get these crazy policies reversed.